last week, as we noted, that Friday was the deadline for the Chiefs and Orlando Brown Jr. to come to a deal. And as most of our viewers probably know, that did not happen. Chiefs offered him pretty good money, but did not reset the tackle market in the way that Orlando Brown really wanted. NFL Network reported yesterday, I think Jeff Chadia reported that the Chiefs were very frustrated with Orlando Brown to not work with him on a team-friendly deal. They also said they were kind of disappointed because they said this isn't the guy they traded for. The fact that he didn't want to work with them on a deal, and they were kind of upset that he didn't want to, and they thought that he would take one just based on everything they knew about him. But quite frankly, he left Baltimore because he wanted to get paid like a left tackle, not right tackle, and that was the kind of that's why he wanted out of there. So kind of weirded out as the fact they were surprised by any of this. Initial reports are that Brown is likely to play the franchise tag. However, in that same NFL Network report, it's still kind of in doubt as if he's going to come to training camp or if he even is intending on playing week 1. So, JD, what do you make of all this Orlando Brown Jr. drama?
I mean, like you said, what did we expect? So I don't know when somebody said, this is not the guy we signed for or who we brought here. That's exactly who you brought here. He made it known that he wanted to be a left tackle and he wanted to be paid left tackle money. And so it wasn't really a shock or be surprised by that, especially when, he came out and he performed what I would say better as the season went on. And he did. He improved. He, without a doubt, he became a Pro Bowler. And so, I know there's a lot of, opinions about where he is as far as, where he ranks as far as left tackles in the league. I think he's a good left tackle. I think he's going to get better. And so one of the things I've said is, because he's 25 years old and he made the Pro Bowl, you could get a guy like this for a long time. And if you get him right now, then you don't necessarily have to deal with the headache of, later on, and then trying to find another guy later on. And so, to me, this is part of the NFL. This is the business side of it. So it's not always, easy to swallow. And sometimes these things do happen. And if two camps are, far enough from each other, then nothing's going to get done. The thing is, it just puts, the Chiefs in a precarious position right now. And I know they said, an agent came out and was like, hey, well, look, he's going to go ahead and sign the franchise tag. Well, I said this on Twitter. I said, look, I'm not trusting anything an agent says at all. Until you put your eyes on him at camp and he's out there kicking back in pass protection, then we'll see. Other than that, right now, he's not signed with the Chiefs, and we need to see him the first training camp on the 27th. And so if it doesn't happen and it doesn't work and he sits out for, the first week, or he decides to sit out the entire year, then it puts the Chiefs in a difficult position. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it would be difficult. So,
yeah.
Hold on. So I'm almost, conservative energy down here. But it puts them in like a precarious position. But, this is, for a guy that I think is very talented. He's young. What do you do? Somebody said it best, like, so what's your options? What do you go to? So this is where we may find ourselves on the 27th, but we'll have to wait till that day to really go into that, though.
Yeah. I did want to ask you, just looking at the numbers of what was reported as what we offered him, what did you think about the contract that was offered to him?
When the reports first came out, I didn't really look at the details. I didn't know anything about it. And then I seen like the CBS report, it was talking about the money. And it wasn't top left tackle money. It wasn't. And so the way that the deal was structured, I think there was a lot of money that was kind of toward the last scene. I think at the very end, he was going to make like $45 million, which he definitely wouldn't have seen it all. Yeah. But he had a nice, I guess, signing bonus. What he would have made a year was delectable, but I think he wanted to have at least something more, something that he's saying, look, I want top left tackle money. And I think this might have put him at around like number 5 or maybe just out the 5th range of left tackle. And I guess they want to get done. And so look, that's everybody's prerogative. And sometimes these things, how they happen, and they all, every camp comes out and says, well, we made a great deal for this guy. This guy didn't take it. We was trying to make him the highest paid left tackle. But then all of a sudden when you see the contract, wasn't necessarily so.
Yeah. So,
Atlanta Brown and his camp have every right to refuse it. The Chiefs, like I said, with their offer, they felt like it was fair, and it just didn't work. So here we are.
I gotta say, we've talked about it on the show in the past that, like, it's Veach, man. He's kind of he's been a little frugal with it when it comes to paying these guys. Let Tyreek kill. He traded him, and now it's Orlando Brown situation. It's kind of just. And he likes Orlando Brown. That's the crazy thing. All the reports say that he loves him. He just doesn't want to pay him what Orlando Brown wants. Very interesting on that front. I did want to ask another question about Orlando Brown. Now with his contract situation, the way it is, it's like, the first 2 years or the first 3 years of his being in the NFL, he's made around $6.2 million collectively. With his franchise tag, he would get paid $16 million. So this would be a big payday for a guy who has not been paid a lot yet, because he's still on that rookie scale where he's only made $6 million going into
right.
Here. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of people are saying, the leverage is in the Chiefs' hands, because if he doesn't sign that tag, he's still playing he's still getting that rookie scale money. Whereas if he signs a tag, he gets that big payday, which he hasn't had yet. So would you kind of say the leverage is in the Chiefs' advantage right now on this whole franchise tag situation?
Well, not necessarily. And the reason being is because you got number 15 back there, who's the highest paid quarterback in the league, who's the best quarterback in the league. And you need somebody to protect him, right? So that's the reality. That's the way I look at it. And so the thing is, you can't just put anybody over there to protect him, especially a guy who has been getting better, who was a Pro Bowler this past year, this past season, who got better as the season went along. And you got to make sure 45 is, hey, look, 45 million is upright. You got to make sure he's upright. So make sure you protect your team. I mean, that's your priority. And that's where you got to weigh the things. That's how you weigh it. Like I said, you just can't put anybody over there. That's just not going to work. And so, you start looking at the options who you have on a team, and like, can this guy hold up? Because like I said, man, there's a lot of great defensive ends just in our division alone, the way to go through. Yeah. And so that's going to be tough. We're going to play them twice a year. We look at San Diego, we're looking at Oakland, Denver. So it's some tough hombres, man, on the other side, man, that, we had to go against, no doubt about it. And so I would feel a lot better if Orlando Brown Jr. was over there protecting him. Not saying that these other guys may not be able to do it. I don't know if they're the caliber that he is. I don't believe they are. And not really a knock to them, but we're talking about somebody who made the Pro Bowl. So we got to think about a guy who's just been getting better and better. But the priority, without a doubt, is making sure 15 is okay. Yep. Bottom line. I mean, that's your franchise. And so as he goes, the Chiefs are going to go. Mm-hmm. And so if he goes down, then what do you do, right? So let's just say the scenario happens, okay, that you don't sign Orlando Brown Jr. Then you put a guy out there who is not as dynamic, good of a pass blocker as Orlando Brown Jr. And then something happens to Patrick. Mm. Then what do you think the fans are going to say, right? I mean, we just give them scenarios that, ifs, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right?
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood, man. Well, I mean, we nobody wants that scenario to happen, not at all, in any form or fashion, right? And so I think you have to be very intentional about how you want to be able to deal with this whole situation. So that's why I don't think the leverage goes into their part, because even if Orlando Brown Jr. is playing, he's playing on, the rookie, deal, he's going to be able to get signed by somebody. Somebody's going to sign him, right? And if they go ahead and trade him away and work through the season, how that works out, I mean, he's a talented guy. Yeah. He's a talented guy. So what's that old saying? You don't want to, cut your nose, spite off your face, something like that. It's something like, to that degree, right? You just don't want to do it. Just be like, we didn't want to pay him, and we're not going to pay us guy. And I get it. I do. I really do get it. My thing is, what's the contingency plan, right? Do you trust the other guys that you have in there to do their job to protect 15? That's the real question.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, we'll see. And I know, like, looking at next year, we're going to have Frank Clark comes off the books. So we're going to have a lot more money next year. I mean, look, we traded away Tyreek Hill because we didn't want to give him number one receiver money. Okay, we didn't do that. Now we don't want to give Orlando Brown number one tackle money. It's like, what are we saving for? I mean, there's got to be some kind of plan for it. And I know Veach is in that same Jeff Chadia report. He said they have it's a new thing they kind of want to get to clear in the locker room. They said earlier on last year, there was too much talk about contract and negotiations during season. And they're like, we don't really, they're trying to send a message to the locker room. It's like, we want a different kind of mindset going into the season. We don't want guys talking about money during the season. We kind of want guys, wanting to win. And then we can talk about money after the season goes. So it seems like they're sending some kind of message, what Jeff Chadia said in his report yesterday.
Well, look, that's always going to happen. That's never going to change.
Yeah.
And what we see last year had to happen with Tyreek Hill, same thing. They wanted to try to do it. Hey, look, I won't wait till after the season, and then, this is what happens. Mm-hmm. And so if you continue to do that, sometimes you're going to miss out on great players.
Yeah.
Because guys want to get paid, and sometimes you just can't get past it. But I guess what you have to do is you had to quantify, like, is this guy that valuable to the team that we can't let this guy go, right? Can we not let this type of talent actually leave about the building? And so we know we got the main guys who will be there. Patrick for sure, can't let him go. Chris Jones is coming up, so you got to sign him. You want to give Kelce a good deal, keep him on and around as long as possible. But I think your core guys is what you want to be able to do. And if it's consistency and something synonymous with having a great quarterback, is having a great left tackle, keeping him upright, then you might have to sit there and say, we might have to go ahead and just pay the money to get a guy in here.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to get a guy in the draft. And if you send a guy out, you're trying to win right now.
Yeah.
Right. And the money's going up. You're going to get money. I mean, it's going to happen. Every year, money's going up. The thing is, the type of players that you have here, as long as you have the core guys here,
yeah,
I think you can pretty much hang your hat on that, man. I really do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out going to next year. And again, we could tag him again next year. So I think a lot hinges on, what happened, how he plays this year. I mean, if you do kind of see a growth with him. The last thing on this topic, now we talk about where the leverage kind of lies with rather than the advantage. Okay, but let's say Orlando Brown misses training camp, but then comes reports for week 1. That sets who's that hurt more, the team, or is that it set him back? I mean, it's kind of a combination of both, right? Because they're not going to go with Orlando Brown if he misses all training camp. Then week 1 comes around, he reports. Do they put him back in at left tackle, or I mean, what happens in that case?
Well, I think you have to. Week 1 he comes. You're saying if he comes back week 1, hasn't been in no training camp.
Yeah, he reports right after week 3 preseason, ready for that Monday going to week 1 of the season.
No, you had to have some training with the team and continuity as far as like what's going on with the offense. I know he knows the offense really well, but you have to be in there actually going against guys, to be effective. So I don't care how great of a tackle you are. Nothing's like going against a guy in practice and game speed and NFL players all the time. I mean, there's only so much that you can do to practice on your own without actually seeing real fire. And so if he's not going against good defensive ends, I mean, he's going to be able to help out Karlaftis, Frank Clark and all those other guys getting some good work. And if he's not in there, he's going to be behind the 8 ball. That'll hurt him without a doubt, right? Because you can't start him. It's like, well, we put him in. How much work has he actually had? So, I mean, it's just sometimes you just need game shape. You need that real physical football and practice to be prepared. And if you're sitting at home and you're working at a facility, you're just not going to get it. You can't lift enough weights. you need live bodies to go against, man. Some real tough guys.
Mm. Yeah, only so many tennis ball workouts you can do.
Yeah, man. No, you need that live body. You need to feel that power, that oomph, that push, that hit. So, when you're out there catching tennis balls and you soften yourself up, man, you don't want to do that. You don't do that because it's real deal when it comes out there. When the game time starts, it is the real deal. And so, that'd be a bad situation.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't drag out to what, a month from now. That'd be horrible if that was the case.
But my thing is this: it's like if you know you're going to sign the deal, why wait till week 1? You might as well just get to training camp and go ahead and sign the deal, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, you're trying to hold out and seeing if they're going to budge.
Yeah.
I think they're firmly planted in what they want to do, how they want to do it, and so. Like I said, there was reports coming out like, look, he's going to play for the tag, franchise tag. The Chiefs right now is like, hey, we gave him what we thought was fair.
Yeah.
This is where we are with it. So, like I said, the only thing about that is the sour grapes, right? Is this going to be one of those things where all season long is it going to be disgruntled?
Yeah.
Or is he just going to go out there and work and prove? Matter of fact, prove it. If he goes and proves himself as being a top 5 left tackle or one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, man, then he's like, look, now you're going to have to really pay me.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but like everybody's saying, like, prove it. Fine. Go ahead and prove it. Sign the tag, prove it. If that's going to be the deal.
You'll get your money, yeah. We talked about it when – I wasn't – the whole thing was kind of backwards when he was hiring an agent with like a month, with like 3 weeks before this whole deadline was coming. I mean, that's just like that's bad timing, I would say, on that matter. Also, though, we talked about having this young agent who, like, I don't think the kid has really any clients. At first we were like, okay, this kid might settle for any kind of deal, which he didn't. And if you think about it this way, this kid's going to want to make sure Orlando Brown gets paid big time. So that also sets a precedent. So other players are like, ooh, this agent's going out getting big bucks for guys. Yeah, this agent ain't settling for anything less than that top dollar, man. He wants to get his name out there.
Man, it's hard to catch, man, a golden goose the first time you go out there, man. But he's got one. He's got one in this corner with Orlando Brown Jr., no doubt about it. I mean, and he knows he's got to stick with his guns, right? He's like, if I want to keep this guy, I've got to stick with my guns. I have got to be as rigid as I possibly can to negotiate at the table, just like these other guys, right? So, good on him. Good on him, and if he gets what he wants in the deal, that will be a little bit more, easier for guys to kind of, maybe come to his camp. He'll establish himself. So,
oh yeah, I mean, nothing better than this advertisement than getting the number one guy, number one left tackle money. That'll go down this kid's grave when it's all said and done if he gets this done.
Yeah, he probably came in like, look, don't let the smooth taste fool you. I might get a baby face, man, but I ain't no baby here. I ain't wet behind the ears. I ain't drinking no Similac, so I'm here. I'm here with it. All right, let's negotiate.
Hi everybody, thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.